Good morning. Casey here. I am doing my normal having to jump around a couple of screens when I first get started. So hopefully you can see me immediately. I need to open the door for Atticus. Good morning. My name is Casey Durango. I talk about the ketogenic diet. I've lost 95.5 pounds on it. And I like to talk to people about how they may be able to lose weight, improve their health, and regain control of their lives. So it looks like I'm the only one here for right now. I'm going to just keep on talking. It's a kind of a gloomy day here. Monday morning, overcast, a little chilly. Little glum day, I will have to say. Excuse me while I open the door. No, that's fake. They didn't go out. Must be 9 o'clock. The clocks are all chiming. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Anya. Hey, Sylvia. Good to talk to you 2 days in a row. Hey, Lori. I do want to say, for those of you who are watching this, this is a live broadcast. If you do not enjoy live broadcasts and having the host interact with folks who show up and comment, then this is probably not the video for you. If you're seeing this at a time other than between 9 a.m. and about 9:45 or 9:50 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on May 1st, it is not live, so comments may not be responded to. My topics today are kind of widespread. I wanted to talk about a couple of things. One is how folks can get discouraged, and we've talked about this before, getting discouraged on the rate of weight loss, and how we can, if we're comparing it to other people, comparing it to ourselves, or simply comparing it to our expectations, how we might be a little disappointed. There are stories out there of people dropping tons of weight quickly and regularly. And that is great, and we want to celebrate those victories. Some of us, it's more slowly. Good morning, Jane. Good morning, Kim from Germany. Thank you so much for showing up. I'm so glad to have my friends here this morning for a variety of reasons. So what do we need to do about that? First of all, if things do not seem to be working the way you had anticipated they would, either the scale is not moving the way you had hoped it would, or you're not getting the burst of energy that you hear people talk about, or you still have cravings, the first thing you want to do is really examine, are you following the program? Keep in mind that the program is quite straightforward. 20 grams of carbohydrate a day, total, not net. Eat fatty sources of protein. Eat only when hungry and stop when satiated. So keep that in mind. Nowhere in that does it say add a lot of dietary fat. If it works for you to do so, great. But if things are not moving the way you thought they would, start asking yourself these questions. Am I eating net carbs and not total? Am I simply overeating carbs, even if I'm counting total ones? Am I not eating fatty sources of protein? Am I shying away from fatty sources of protein? And many people do. They fear the fat. And I do have to check my text here because I'm expecting a text. Okay, I'll respond to that later. Thank you. Sorry about that. Live television, live video. Good morning from California, Tony. Thank you for getting up so early and joining us. Hey, Pamela. Claire from Melbourne. I'm so glad you were able to make it. Thank you so much. And now I've just gotten a text from my lovely mate letting me know he has arrived at his destination. So I'm happy to see that. So ask yourself first, if things aren't moving the way you thought, we do, we do have to follow the program. As Dr. Westman has apparently said, I've not heard him say it, but I've heard patients tell him that he's said it to them, repeat it back. He says, I can guarantee the program works, I just can't guarantee that you follow it. If you are following everything, then maybe you need to tweak a little bit, and maybe, that's where you start asking the questions. But maybe you're losing and it's just not as quickly as you wanted to. So what do you do about that? What I say is, who cares how fast it is? If you're like, frankly, most of the people that bother to show up and join in these discussions, we are, by and large, people who have had a weight issue for essentially ever. Maybe a few good years in there at the beginning, in our adolescence or high school and college years. And then things, kind of took a life of their own. So what do we care if it takes a year, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to lose 50, 60, 80, 100, 130, 200 pounds? What do we care? If we've been toting around an extra 50 pounds for 25 years, so it takes a year to lose it. You've been carrying around 50 pounds for a year. I didn't lose 50 pounds the first year, and I had a lot to lose, and I was dedicated and never went off course. So the first thing you do is quit comparing yourself to anyone else, for one thing. Everyone's different. Some people may have put on the weight a lot more quickly than you did. Some people may be dudes who lose weight historically differently than women do. It's just the way it is. Some folks have much more to lose than others, and so the weight may come off more quickly. Some people never fall off program, and so their weight loss and other health benefits might be more consistent. So if you've been at it, but you kind of stumble every now and again, no crime in it. No keto police here. No judgment. But if you stumble, you got, just like if you physically stumble and you're on you're taking a walk, you're going to lose a little bit of time as you get yourself back up and dust yourself off. So ask those questions. And now I do want to look at some comments. Kim writes, every pound lost, no matter how big or small, how fast or slow, is a big win for you. How poetic, Kim. Absolutely. Thank you, Pam. Pam writes, I look pretty this morning. I don't say that I feel very pretty this morning, I'll say. But thank you. T.R. LaFrance, I'm so glad you made it. So that's one topic. If you're not losing or getting the health benefits or feeling better the way you thought you might, first of all, ask yourself, am I doing this the way, it's one thing to decide you don't want to do the 20 grams, that you'd rather do net carbs, so you'd rather incorporate a cheat day, bad idea, or that you're going to do low fat as well. Very bad idea. Low carb and low fat, very, very bad idea. It's one thing to just decide that. It's your choice. Nobody here cares. I don't care. It's your choice. But then don't say, well, it doesn't work. Because it does work. It's more slowly for some, depending on how much healing needs to take place. The standard American diet is in general very inflammatory. Not just in joints, our organs, our blood. It's not a good state of existence. So it can take a while to heal. Just think of it this way. If you have a very bad cut on your arm and it's inflamed, and it's really inflamed, and maybe it didn't have good wound care, it might take a good long while for that wound, for the swelling and the inflammation to die down, and even longer for the scar to dissipate. If you've got a smaller wound and it didn't have really, really awful wound care, yours might clear up sooner. So just think of your body as essentially a wound. Are you really wounded? And did you not have good wound care? It might take longer to heal. So there's that. Linda, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm always touched and stunned at these super chats. let me see, Janice, I'm yo-yoing here, but I noticed that if I go over 20 grams of carb, that's when my scale goes up. I decided to break up with the scale and just focus on non-scale victory. And maybe you want to break up with some carbs too as well, but thank you for sharing that, Jen. Lat Patterson, thank you, Casey. This is so true. First diet at 6 months old. Doctor put me on skim milk. Oh, the things that have been done by well-intentioned, but frankly, nutritionally ignorant medical professionals. Fought my weight all my life. After 50 years, I found keto and I've lost 19 inches. Brava. Another point. I do want to say, for those of you who have been so kind to try to buy the mugs, I was blown away. I had 30 mugs in inventory on my site, kcdurango.com. Frankly, I honestly didn't think anyone would want them. You know, people say, oh, I want one. And then, you know, I didn't expect it. That's just talk. It sold out in fewer than 18 hours. So I'm out of inventory. More is on the way. Also, there will almost likely be, this is an 11-ounce mug, and it's sturdy. It's heavy. The mug itself weighs a pound and an ounce. We're going to go with an 11-inch mug for those of you who don't want to get your exercise and your weightlifting in just by lifting the coffee to your face. And that will be available as well. Probably the same price, but shipping may be a little bit lower because it is a less awkward size to ship and it weighs less. So there you go. Yes, Jean, thank you so much. Jean writes, please tell me you're ordering more. I am ordering more. And Jean, I've actually squirreled away a couple to bring to the live support group meeting. Just a couple. I have about 3. So if you got $15, it's yours, Jeannie. Oh, Linda, I'm so glad you got one. And we might have some wine glasses that say all I want to do is drink wine and talk about keto. I'm not trying to make this into a cottage industry, but it's fun. People seem to like it. I will be organizing for people who buy the mugs, video live chats where we can all see each other. And I really like those. I actually prefer them to these live broadcasts where it's just me talking into the camera, which feels so weird. But the video chats, I send out invitations and we can all see each other. So we'd all get our mugs and you can fill it up with anything you like. Coffee, tea, something else. So those will be going out. Logistics, I'll try to coordinate all of that. So, thank you, Claire. Claire says there's going to be a large increase in coffee consumption in America after the 30 mug ship. Good morning from Ontario. I'm so glad since you become a new lifeline. That's very kind of you to say. So appreciate your ongoing encouragement and honesty. Never stop. Can I tell you, I appreciate you guys. Those of you who know, this is a little bit of a rough day. Not a little bit. It's a rough day for me. I'm just going to get emotional. Piper, who has been featured in many of my videos, we're saying goodbye to her today, this afternoon. So it's a rough day. And unfortunately, my husband cannot be here. Just cannot be. And he wanted to wait until he could be here. And that would only be to make me feel better. And would not be fair to Piper. So please don't anyone comment on it because I don't want to talk about it. Okay, so another topic. By the way, I do want to give a shout out. They are not a sponsor, but I have found this company to be so great to work with. Campusmarketing.com. When I gave them a little bit of information and they came up with the mugs, I thought they did a great job. And they've been very supportive. So they are not a mega marketer. If you need promotional stuff for your high school, for your soccer team, your lacrosse team, your church, t-shirts, bags, mugs, banners, stickers, check out campusmarketing.com. I don't get any kind of kickback or anything. Like I said, they're not a sponsor, but they've really just done a great job. I like working with people who know what they're doing. Thanks, Jean. There are varying levels of dealing, not just with the ketogenic diet. I think this is a broad stroke topic here. When you're trying to make any change in your life, and it can be a nutritional change, an exercise change. Karen from Alaska says she's dusting off her dumbbells. Do you need to pick them up? Yes, and that is a reference to the fact that on my patrons, I've said this before, my Patreon site, I committed to my patrons that May would be the month I do start exercising. You know my phrase, I don't exercise, I just dress like I do. Thinking of making a t-shirt for that as well. But I want to exercise. I want to be very, very strong. I want a good core. I want good bone density. And it makes sense to exercise. There's no reason not to. You do not need to exercise for weight loss. This is not about weight loss. This is about literal inner strength. Okay? I regretted it as soon as I posted that on Patreon, committing to it, because I don't want to do it, but I am going to do it. So Karen, who's a patron, he was going to kind of join in, I guess, with the challenge as well, or not the challenge. I mean, well, I'll do it. She said, should she dust them off? I am going to give myself a break today. May 1st will not be the day that I start exercising. I just kind of need to get through today. I hope that's all right. But I will be doing it. We'll see. But if you're making any change, and if it's a change that others can see, either they can see the results, they can see what you're literally doing, what you're actually not putting in your mouth, or what you are putting in your mouth. If they can see that you are going to the gym, or they can see that you are going to meditation, or you've started a yoga class, or you're doing Tai Chi, or whatever it might be. Anything that people feel they might be able to have an opinion on. And it might be something that you're struggling with. Let's face it, most of those things I listed, people don't comment on. But for some reason, they feel like it's okay to comment on what you eat. Why? Why? None their business, okay? But we have to deal with it. So what do? Many of us ask, the question comes up, how do I deal with people, family, coworkers, my doctor, friends, who say that is a crazy way to eat. Your cholesterol's going to go sky high. That is going to wreck your kidneys. Oh my gosh, whatever people are going to say. And as I do like to quote Dwight Schrute from The Office, false. Those things are false. But how do you deal with it? In many ways. You have to figure out what works for you. You don't want to try to be me the way I would respond to it, because it would not sound genuine coming from your mouth. So however you deliver a message, but make no mistake, you have a right to deliver the message. You have the right to deliver the message that, and you say, oh, well, it's working great for me. If I stop feeling well, I'll make a change, but I feel great. Or you could be a little bit more aggressive and say, well, thank you for your input, but I'm doing this. Or, how are you going to do it? But then there's the next level. How do you deal with yourself? I'll be honest here. I think many of us use it's so hard to deal with my coworkers, family, my mother-in-law, my doctor, so-and-so, all this information, all this negatives. It's so hard to get through that. Let's be real here. It could be that that's a very convenient reason to not deal with yourself. Again, no judgment. Just because this way of eating is simple doesn't mean it's easy. Just as anything, and particularly any change in our life, it requires an investment on our part. It requires effort. The weight loss is pretty effortless once you're keto adapted. It's fairly easy and effortless. Maybe slower, maybe faster, but it'll take care of itself as a rule. But it's not effortless to manage your own expectations, your own fear of success. Sometimes we self-sabotage. It's not effortless to manage dealing with stress. If we have used food as a solution for decades. So don't think that we skate by through this scot-free. It requires effort. And what should be surprising about that? For those of us who tried for decades to move more and eat less, that was effort. But we didn't, we said, okay, of course it takes work. It's work, 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 work. So that investment we thought made sense. Why do we think that this does not take investment, an emotional, mental, spiritual investment, perhaps? So don't think it should be free, okay? The thing is, almost the bigger trial you have getting over whatever the hump is, the cravings, the keto flu, if you experience that, dealing with your in-laws, your cousin, your coworker, your doctor, your friends, whatever it might be, the harder the challenge is to do that, how great are you going to feel when you get through all that, because you did put in the effort and the investment and you're successful on top of it. So just because it's easier for some doesn't mean it's less valuable for those for whom it is more challenging. So keep that in mind. This takes investment, it takes effort, it takes commitment. Don't use those around you as an explanation why we can't do it. Okay, now I'm going to turn my attention to some comments. Thank you guys so much. Happy Seeker. Good morning. So glad you're here. Stacy K, I don't normally catch you live. I love watching your videos and appreciate your weight loss has been slow to none after 6 weeks. I followed faithfully, discouraging, but waiting with it. Stacy, can you share how much you have to lose? And are you doing total carbs or net carbs? And are you eating a lot of dietary fat, bulletproof coffee, fat bombs? Jules Roberts, watching from the UK. First time I've caught you live. That is great. Thank you so much for joining in. Because y'all are, it's, I guess, early afternoon where you are, correct? Pam, no sugar, no sugar. Kim, Pam, I didn't add sugar, but my coworker didn't get the fact that I'm eating fat, but no sugar in my diet. I know people, and listen, they're not being tacky. A lot of established professionals don't get it either. We're going to change this from the ground up. Casey, oh shoot, I didn't see that one. Do I eat keto, something or other? Karen Coffee, good morning. Down 10 pounds in 7 weeks, feeling great. That is great. And you know, that's a perfect weight loss rate. Keto Queenie, yep, unless people know the truth about fats, they will assume fat makes you fat, which is, you know, there's a meme out there. If fat makes you fat, why doesn't broccoli make you green? I have a little saying in my bathroom that says, nothing worth having comes easy. That always motivates me. Thank you. Very good, Jen. This kind of pulls into a topic. Excuse me, I'm asking for answers. How about the eye rolling and yeah, so you're on another diet. Yeah, you are on another diet. They're not wrong, are they? Yeah, I am. This one feels different to me. Of course, you don't have to respond at all. But yeah, you are on another diet. Yeah, I've been on 73 diets. This one is different. Thanks for this thought, Sam. Coming off a successful other way of eating, I thought I had this, but not losing, and I need to reevaluate. Yeah, tweaking, reevaluating, asking yourself questions, getting really down to basics can be very helpful. Okay, Okay, Terry Chin. Casey, do you advise keto for people with high blood pressure, a lot of salty foods, bacon, pork? Yes. A lot of people with high blood pressure. Now, I had high-ish blood pressure. I was on the borderline with that, as I was on borderline everything else. If anyone here who has high blood pressure can speak to that, it'd be great. But many folks have come off their blood pressure meds with this. So, the thing about, dealing with other people and then having to deal with yourself, the question came up yesterday. Why do we think people, and some of you here maybe do net carbs and are very happy with it and successful, great. But why does the question keep coming up? Why can't I do net carbs? Why can't I do net carbs? I want to do net carbs. And so the question is, why do people keep asking the question when very often the answer is just do total carbs and it's more effective? I think it might be for the same reason that some of us use the people around us as an explanation of why we can't keep hanging on to this. We can't do it consistently. Maybe the answer is because some people really just want an explanation why they can eat more carbs. Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that I'm not getting a text from my husband. Again, if you want to eat more carbs, eat more carbs. If you're not being successful as you had hoped to be, check your carbs. Dr. Westman says there's not great scientific evidence behind the fiber grams being subtracted from the carb grams, and some people do or don't absorb fiber from different foods differently at different times. I mean, so it's not an actual corollary. But many people, and let me tell you, people aren't asking about the net carbs in like green beans. They're asking about the net carbs in things like ice cream, packaged food, baked items made with alternative flours. So to me, what I'm thinking is that people really want an explanation for why they are continuing to eat foods that maybe did not do them well in the first place. I tend to stay away from substitutions for foods that got me ill in the first place. So I don't tend to do very many baked goods. Very occasionally. Christmas morning, I made pumpkin muffins with coconut flour, and we were fine. And I make almond cookies for my lovely mate, and I grind up almonds and use coconut oil in that. But I tend not to do that. But if you can keep it simple, you're generally going to be more successful. In my experience, certainly my personal experience, and that of the people from whom I hear. Vintage Girls writes, keto is a lifestyle. It gives me my life back. I'm done with diets. Keto for health and for life. Absolutely. Terry, I think I'm seeing something that people are answering each other's questions. So thank you very much for doing that. I love the support that's here. By the way, if any of you are from the Keto After 40 and Beyond group, I imagine by the end of the week, we're going to be at 20,000 members, which is awesome since we started in March. Great support there. Surprisingly little snark, very occasionally, a little refereeing needed, but man, it's a really great group. Excuse me while I sip some more coffee. I'm looking down my list to see if there's anything else that I wanted to go over. And I think that was really kind of it. Don't compare your rate of loss to anybody else's. Maybe don't look at your rate of weight loss, particularly if you don't have a great deal to lose. If you've got 15 pounds that you want to lose, whether it's the last 15 pounds or just 15 pounds overall. In the last year, I've lost about 13 pounds. So if I had started out only needing to lose and I'd like to lose about 5 more. So if I'd started out only needing to lose about 18 or 20 pounds, I would say, wow, this is slow. These are my last pounds, right? And it's still slow. So make sure you are listening to your body, and maybe quit looking at pounds and start looking at inflammation, clarity, mood, energy level, things like that. Okay, so now we are, okay, Snowy Fairy, you're 46, you have 70 pounds to lose. You can absolutely do this. You are younger than I and less to lose. I started at age 55. You can do this. Stephanie, and I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Stephanie Barris, scared to try, got lots of health issues. Are you scared to try the ketogenic diet? It's not a miracle cure for everything, but the ketogenic diet can help clear up a lot of health issues. So maybe, take care of your own health, but give it a go. There's not really a downside to it. This diet is not contraindicated for almost any condition, per Dr. Westman. There's an extremely rare kidney condition, not kidney stones or whatever, but a very extremely rare kidney condition that someone has to watch. But pretty much, you don't have to have a gallbladder. You don't have to have a thyroid. You can have high thyroid, low thyroid, Hashimoto's. Obviously type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, fibromyalgia, any autoimmune situations. Give it a go. You need to lose 100 pounds? This is a great way to do it. I have lost nearly 100. I'm at 95 and a half. I'm 5 feet, 1 inch tall. So you can imagine how much weight that is on this frame. You can do this. 100 pounds, you can do it. Oh, Kim writes, I went shopping this weekend for shorts. I bought a size smaller and they fit great. I love it when that happens. I love to size smaller clothes. Oh, that's so gratifying. Has anyone here, and this came up when I was talking to someone yesterday, has anyone here lost a decent amount of weight after being large for quite a while and found that they feel kind of weird being smaller, taking up less space in the world? Do you feel self-conscious about it? Are you just having to get used to it? Are you having to get used to not bumping into things? Like going down the aisle in the grocery store and being able to walk between, here's a shopping cart here, someone on this side of the aisle, there's a shopping cart here, and you can just walk through. I mean, if I saw that, I would just turn around and walk and go down another aisle because I didn't want to hit shopping carts, theater seats, turnstiles, airplane seats, patio furniture. I saw somebody who wrote that whoever invented the folding lawn chairs is a masochist. Hates heavy people. So Pamela writes, great Kim, what a thrill it is to see sizes go down. Isn't better than a scale. 54 pounds down at age 62. Fantastic, Jean. Fantastic. And Jean, can you share physically any changes that have happened besides the weight loss? I don't want to tell your story for you. Keto Queenie writes, Casey, I uploaded my video story a few days ago about how keto cured my fibromyalgia. Maybe show it to your friend you mentioned before. It's just my experience. I can't get her to listen. She's not heavy. She's never had any extra weight. And so people think, well, I don't need to do this because I don't need to lose weight. Here's another thing. It's a little thing of mine. So many people think that obesity and overweight cause the health issues. And I believed that. I saw a video by Dr. Peter Attia. It was a TED Talk. And the way he put things, he actually got emotional himself. It lit a light bulb on over me. Wait a minute. Maybe the obesity is not the cause of my borderline diabetes, my borderline high blood pressure, my aching joints, my mood. my lack of mental acuity. Maybe it was a side effect. It was just a side effect that some people don't have. Just like some people are allergic to bee stings and others aren't. I have a side effect of Atticus, sorry. A side effect of obesity. In addition, so the nutrition caused the obesity. The nutrition also caused the high blood glucose, the high blood pressure, the depression, the inflammation in my joints. Excuse me. I don't have, that's my mic anyway. I don't have a mute button. Atticus. Atticus. Thank you, honey. No. So the fibromyalgia. So someone who has fibromyalgia but is not overweight, they think, well, it can't be my food because I'm not overweight. You know, it's a hard message to deliver to someone who's never had a weight issue, that tried changing your food. Why? My food has done me very well. I think she's 61 years old. So I will do that, Keto Queenie. I might try it. And I'm sorry, my hands don't hurt. My legs quit hurting. I can go work again and return to my love of sewing. This is another thing. When I say, oh, my joints don't hurt, people would say, well, of course you've lost X number of weight, whatever it was. Say, no, thank you. But my joints stopped hurting within about 2 or 3 weeks of me doing this. It was not the weight. It was the inflammation. You can go back to sewing. How fantastic is that? Lori Welch, I've lost 71 pounds in the last year. Yes, it is weird taking up less space. An auditorium seat I sat in last week was comfortable. Wow. Isn't that great? One of the first blog posts I wrote on this topic at my website. I don't think I did a video about it because I wasn't doing videos then. I took a photograph of my legs crossed. I was sitting in an airline seat. I was actually on a way to a low-carb conference in San Diego. And I took a picture because not only the last time I had flown in an airplane, I couldn't do the seatbelt. I could see as I was walking down the aisle, people thinking, oh, please don't sit next to me. Please don't sit next to me. Please don't sit next to me. Because I was a big person. I was going to spill over the armrest. So this time I didn't spill over the armrest. At that point, I don't remember how much I'd lost, but I don't know, maybe 65 pounds or something. I don't remember. But I was able to walk down the aisle. No one was giving me the, oh, please don't sit next to me look. I sat down in the seat. I could cross my legs, something I had not been able to do for about 25 years, easily, and had plenty of room between my crossed legs and the next airline seat. And I took a picture, and I wrote a blog post about it. It was weird and fantastic. Jenny, hey Jenny, good morning. Gone down from size 1X to 16, and you're 76 years old. How much more testimony do we need? How many doctors are going to see results like Jenny's when doctors have told us, particularly women, particularly if we're postmenopausal, that if you haven't lost weight now, it is simply going to be almost impossible. Story after story after story, mine included, Jenny's included, Jean's included. It puts a lie to that, and it happens too often to be a fluke. It's not a fluke. It's nutrition. It's physiology. Janie Bug writes, at my birthday, my goal was to be 141. I've exceeded that. I'm now 123. My doctor told me it would never happen. Bless, Janie. 123. And you only wanted to get down to 141. I'm below weight I wanted to get down. I'm way below it. Way below. Shelby Dickinson, good morning. So excited to have made it to a live chat. So glad you're here. Your videos have changed my life and my husband's lives in the last couple of weeks. We adore you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that so very much. Y'all changed my lives. Keto Queenie, I have to, I don't particularly agree with that particular person, but whatever good information people can glean, great. Okay, does anyone have anything a topic? Someone had asked me, and I don't know if she was able to make it live, about hair loss. Now, you can have hair loss when you change your nutrition in any way. It shouldn't last for long, and our hair goes through cycles. So you'll have like parts of the hair that are shedding at different times, and sometimes they all kind of get on the same signal. So you can have a lot of hair loss. I can't remember, there's something that's called something, it's a cycle. So it could be just coincidental. Make sure you're getting enough protein. Remember, this is not a low protein diet. It is not a high protein diet. It's an adequate protein diet. Annie Lewis, my mom believes that we can't live without carbs, feeling very anxious about them coming home for the summer. Major food pusher. Annie, this will be an excellent challenge for you. Your mother happens to be wrong. You can point out some logic to her. People who fast for religious, spiritual reasons, who go for days and days, by definition, are eating 0 carbs, and they don't die. So how is that happening? If you can't live without carbs, how are they not dying? A carbohydrate is not an essential nutrient. It is that simple. Proteins are essential. Fat is essential. There are essential amino acids. Carbohydrate is not an essential nutrient. And if you may not ever be able to convince her, let's realize that we can't change anyone else's behavior. We can only change ours. Your mama might be your mama, but she's not in charge of what you put in your mouth. So unless she holds you down and shoves it down your gullet, you're going to have to just be strong. You don't have to be disrespectful. You don't have to be ugly. But no one can make you eat what you're not going to eat. Oh my goodness. Claire, thank you so much. Is this Australian $5? Thank you so much. Yes. Claire is the one who struggled with the hair loss. You're losing a lot of hair. How long have you been losing it, Claire? And has anyone else seen that their hair you were losing hair and then it resolved? Mine did come out at the very beginning, but again, I had very thin, fine hair, and it just resolved. I just stuck with it. Tony Yao says, yeah, I tell people I'm allergic to carbs. They cause me to swell. Perfect. And they literally do. You're being factual and truthful. Okay, Stephanie, good luck at the doctors. Hope everything goes well. Okay, Shelby Dickinson, have you heard about much about correlation to chronic migraine sufferers and the ketogenic diet? My husband has had chronic migraines, God bless him, for 30 plus years ago, but did not have a single migraine last week. You know, they don't really know what causes most migraines. They don't know what causes a lot, and it turns out inflammation causes a lot of it. Dementia, Alzheimer's, arthritis, fibromyalgia. So that's great. It's been gaining for 4 weeks, worst in the last 2 weeks. I'm sorry, it's been getting worse for 4 weeks, worse in the last 2 weeks. Claire, as long as you're getting sufficient protein, not too much protein, I don't think there's any physiological reason your hair should be falling out. Stick with it would be my recommendation. We do have, I actually went to a dermatologist one time when I was doing something else. And it was like coming off, and it's like I'd run my hands through cobwebs when I was washing my hair. And she explained about you have a patch that sheds hair regularly, and here, and here, and here, and here. And that's on about every 8-month cycle. And sometimes they're adjusting, but just like when the planets all line up, sometimes these cycles all coincide at the same time. It could be that. Doctors now referring his patients to convert to keto. That is fantastic. Okay, switch from high protein, low carb fat to keto, and I can't believe how much energy I have. My visceral fat started melting. My dental health is better than ever, and those irresistible carb cravings are gone. Fantastic. If you stick with it, the carb cravings really do subside. If you're eating just enough carbs that you can be in ketosis, but you're pushing that carb limit, you may still have cravings and struggle. If you get those carbs low enough for you, the cravings will dissipate. Claire Thomas, exactly. It's like raining hair on my hands. Yes, that's the way it was for me. And it resolved. It self-resolved. I didn't have to do anything for it. And that's what my dermatologist said to do. Shelby Dickinson, my mother suffered hair loss after weight loss surgery and was told it was due to her body going through such a drastic change. She was told to take hair and nail vitamins, and it corrected itself. I think biotin is supposed to be very good. Vitamin B, but biotin specifically is supposed to be good for hair and nail health. You're welcome, Claire. Thank you for the super chat. Annie Lewis, yeah, thank you. Changing my thinking to it is a challenge, not something out of my control. And that's what we were talking about earlier. You first have to manage the people around you, and then you have to manage yourself. That's sometimes harder, right? Life throws a lot of crap at you, a lot of interference. And almost all of it's out of our control. And we have to remember a phrase, if hunger is not our problem, food is not the answer. I love a quote from the Dalai Lama. If a problem you have has a solution, there's no need to worry. And if there's a problem and it has no solution, worries of no use. So don't fret. Try to not fret. Try to not focus on stressors. Certainly try to not focus on other people's opinions, attitudes, or the words they might say. Very often it's a deflection. They are literally doing the, I'm rubber, you're glue, but they're being the rubber. They're bouncing their stuff off of themselves and sticking it to you. Don't let that happen. You can't own other people's damage. Pamela Ramsire, so glad you canceled bariatric surgery. I considered it myself. I considered trying to get on The Biggest Loser. I mean, you start to get really desperate, So for those who have had bariatric surgery and it's been successful, fantastic. No one needs to judge folks who have made a decision that they made to improve their lives. And if it worked for them, great. So I don't want to hear anyone bashing someone who made the decision to get bariatric surgery, because from everything I understand, it is not an easy fix. But isn't it great to find that you didn't need to go to that step, that you're able to do this with nutrition? Absolutely. Kim writes, good for you, Pamela. Absolutely. You don't have a gallbladder? No worries. Just Dr. Westman says you don't have to worry. I mean, the gallbladder has a certain function. You might need to, I don't know, I have a gallbladder. I don't have a gallbladder issue. But from what I understand, certain fats, maybe you need to just look at the types of fats. If someone is dealing with this and successful who does not have a gallbladder, perhaps they can share their experience. Linda Patterson, I went to put my car keys in my pocket and hit something hard. My hip bones. I have hip bones. Oh man, I love that. I love that. Hip bones. Sometimes I lay in bed and I just pound on my hip bones. Bong, bong, bong. I love feeling them. I was so happy when I had my clavicle. And of course I always had clavicles, but I couldn't see them for decades. That's great. Hip bones. Both parents are in their 70s, are both thinking of going keto. Miss Tara Michelle, that is great. They may not only add years to their lives, they may add healthy years to their lives, not only impacting their own happiness and state of contentment, but impacting you. Okay, Shelby, I had bariatric surgery and almost died. If you're not educated on making the correct diet changes, it does not help. I started keto 7 pounds less than the day before the surgery. Shelby, I think you've shared that message with me before, I think. Wow. Your sister started keto today. Claire, that's great. I love it when people see, when they just see what's going on with us and they start it. That's how this is going to take on the world. Linda, I said I don't have a gallbladder and you have no problems. Great. So give it a go, guys. Asking for answers. I no longer hate approaching plate glass windows, no longer getting pear-shaped. You know, that's the truth. I used to avoid mirrors, avoid any reflective surface. And now I kind of check myself out. When I'm standing there, you know, waiting on something to cook in the oven, I'll look in the reflection of the glass door. I'll think, that is not too bad. Miss Sarah Michelle, they're worried about missing nutrients doing keto. What should you tell them? That this is one of the most nutrient-dense ways of eating there is. I don't think it's available for free. There is a lecture by Dr. Zoe Harcum from the UK who studies. She does analyses on meta-analyses. Very engaging speaker. She spoke a couple of years ago at the Low Carb Conference from Cape Town, South Africa. Luminaries were there speaking. And she brought up nutrient components. Excuse me, my husband just texted me and I need to let him know that I did get it. He is in travel status. I'm going to say yes. The nutrient information on the so-called healthy 5 fruit and veg a day, vegetables and fruits, and then she looked at grains, healthy whole grains, and then she looked at meat, avocados, more meat, fish, and she said, frankly, there is almost nothing more nutritious, including minerals and vitamins, than liver. She said, if you find something that's more densely packed per 100 grams with nutrition, let me know. You'll just have to tell them it's the truth. If they don't believe it, then they need to believe it. There's just not that much nutrition in a lot of the vegetables, but there is lots of nutrition in the meat and fat from animal products. Look at it this way. The animals ate the nutrition for us and turned it into what's densely packed nutrition. Okay, here's my husband again. Good deal. Okay. Don't yet. Let me see. I'm sorry. Need to talk. Okay. There we go. I'm sorry. Sorry for the interruptions, guys. Christina, I will be 65 at the end of the month. My doctor told me my A1C is 6.8 and recommended gastric sleeve. Thank you. She writes, looking for a new doctor. Really? At 6.8, a gastric sleeve? Doctor doesn't understand nutrition. It's very sad. Okay, so I am going to start winding this down. It's been nearly an hour. Don't want to overstay my welcome. And so I'm going to look. Alicia Bratton writes, I also have no gallbladder and no thyroid and no problems. Actually feel the best in years. So there you go. Because that question comes up all the time, Alicia. I have no thyroid, or I have no gallbladder. I'm hypo, or I'm hyperthyroid. So it's good to know. Manuel Era writes, the most difficult of keto is peer pressure. My sister, a nursing teacher, was trying to feed me whatever carbs she got her hands on during the holidays. She doesn't talk to me anymore. That's sad. I'm sorry. Your sister doesn't talk to you over food? There are more issues there than carbs, I would say. No? My hair's crazy today. Okay. Hi, Ivana from Denmark. Thank you for joining. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you were able to join. And Pat Ryder writes, that was a fast hour. Okay, I do want to, here's a little plug. Yesterday we had our first ever patron-only live stream. It was a test run, really. I just wanted to see how to get it done, and several of us were there, and it was a lot of fun. I'll be doing more of those. Those are for patrons at a certain level. And I really enjoyed that, and thank you to all the support from patrons. It makes a big difference. It is allowing me to put more time into doing this. Any of you who have a channel or write for a blog or shoot videos and edit them, you know how time consuming it is. So thank you to patrons. Manuel, that is not cool. Thank you, Linda. She writes prayers for me today. Yeah, this is not going to be fun about Miss Piper, but it's the right decision for her. She's been a good old girl. We've had her for 14 years, got her from the shelter. She and Atticus have been together 12 years. And so I'm hopeful that Atticus will be okay as well. Pamela writes, love you, Casey. You are surrounded by love from all of us today. We're with you. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, more mugs will be coming. There'll be a smaller one where the shipping will probably be a little less expensive. And hopefully that'll be up on the blog site. I can't take pre-orders on the blog, on the website. That platform does not have the functionality for that yet. But, you know, hopefully I'll get some. And if they don't all sell, they don't all sell. I'll have a lot of pencil holders to give to people. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. Remember, you're the boss of what you put in your mouth. Nobody else. Keep your grams of carb below 20 total a day or fewer. Fatty sources of protein. Eat only when hungry, stop when satiated. And don't load up on a bunch of dietary fat if things are not working for you. Okay. Thanks a lot. I'll be checking in again soon. Ciao.